Srivastava, let me ask you this. Both sides seem to be welcoming the verdict. Neither side seems to see it as a setback. Would you consider this to be then a balancing act of sorts? What would your first opinion be?
As we know that, the parliament is empowered to make laws under Article 246 and such other provisions of the constitution. And considering all the aspects and the way the law was framed, the Supreme Court said that we cannot grant stay on the entire law which was framed by following the due process of law and the parliament process and, as per the constitution. However, some of the provisions which the Supreme Court found to be could be misused or could be arbitrary, those provisions have only been stayed at the moment. However, the Supreme Court has to hear the matter further. It is just the interim order which has been passed. So it will further determine and examine the aspects of all the provisions which have been made under the law. So at present, there are certain changes, as we know, that the collector who was given so much of powers under the act, that has been stayed. So the court has to decide, not the collector, in these kind of cases. And if there is any dispute on any land, the owner will not, or the Waqf will not be dispossessed of the property unless and until it is contrarily decided by the higher court. And also, considering the minority and their interests should be also protected, and hence non-Muslim members, as we know, out of 11 members, will not exceed 3 in a state and not 4 at the center. So these are basic changes or amendments we can say that could take place in future. However, these only limited provisions have been stayed by the Supreme Court at the moment. And we know that whenever any law is framed and if it is challenged before the apex court, takes the entire issue, also the interest of the people and the public at large is always considered. And with those views in mind, I think at moment, being interim order, it has been stayed. However, let's see how the further hearings, take place and how the Supreme Court reach further to a conclusion as to what should be done in future.